Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. I'm really excited about today's guest. She's got a fantastic energy. And today we're going to talk all about customer service. And she's a customer service investigator, which is quite interesting. We're going to find out what that is. And her name is Barbara Khozam. And I'm really excited about the conversation. So, Barbara, welcome.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. Yay.
Yeah, I know you're a speaker, you're a consultant, you've got a really interesting slant and take a lot of interesting ideas. So, kind of set the stage, how you got started, what you do, and we'll delve right into the conversation.
How I got started. Oh my gosh, how far should I go back? So, anyway, well, I've been speaking for a long time, since probably before you were born, Christopher. I hate to say that. And I started off speaking as a seminar company. I don't know if you've heard of like Skill Path seminars. It's a seminar company where you teach like anything they tell you to teach, right? So I basically learned platform skills and I taught all sorts of subjects. However, the one that I was the most passionate about was customer service because I was traveling like all over the place and I had so many bad experiences. I was like, I need to help people. So that's why I'm so passionate about customer service. I always start with customer service, but then with my clients, once I get in with them, I can do after that leadership training. We work on leadership, team building, communication, all sorts of fun things.
It's fascinating because Zappos and kind of these really innovative companies kind of really changed the game for customer service. And like I still get off the phone with some of these legacy companies, and I'm like, man, AI or a robot could do that job better.
Well, I think, and what I learned from Zappos, Tony Shea at Zappos always said, service is your only sustainable competitive advantage over your competition. Like a lot of people now, we've got technology, we've got AI chatbots, we've got all sorts of things, but what separates you is how humans treat other humans. That is really the difference. And it doesn't cost a lot of money to be nice to people and to apologize if a mistake happens. Oh, people, we can be nice.
Yeah, what's interesting is culture as an asset, now customer service as an asset. So talk about why customer service is even more important than ever.
Well, it's kind of like just like what I said is, I work in a lot with a lot of healthcare doctors, and one of my clients is a winery, and everyone is so now into the technology, like we've got to get the latest software, but we're forgetting the human component. And I think with all the smartphones and all these devices, people are forgetting about face to face human eye contact and actually being present with one another. We're present with our devices, but we're forgetting the human connection. And the human connection, that feeling that we get, is what goes into people's memory banks and what causes them to refer, to write great reviews, and to come back. So it's more important than ever because I think of all this technology stuff.
Yeah, fascinating. I travel a lot, and one of the things is the airlines, the customer service, and there was recently after a guy got dragged off the plane. It was a couple of years ago from United or something, and it was like this big blow up. And then there was this huge, like 60 Minutes or something, talking about how there's more adversarial relationship between the airlines and customers, and it seems that customers are getting more and more ruder. And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, let's think about it. I deal with like a lot of healthcare clients, right? And a lot of those people say, yeah, these patients are rude. Well, let's think about it. A patient is what? Sick. They're scared, they're worried, they're anxious. It makes sense that they're not going to be super friendly. Okay, so that makes sense. But what about customers on airplanes? Well, what? The plane's been delayed or that's been canceled. They've had to change a gazillion times. Maybe it's not right for a customer to be rude, but what if we gave them, instead of just telling them to shut up and sit down. What if we gave them a little bit of empathy? What if we said, gosh, you know what? I am so sorry about this delay, but we want to get you there safely and we want to do it well. So, please, we appreciate if you would be respectful as I am with you. I mean, if we simply gave people a little bit of love, even if they are rude, I think we could turn around 95% of these people.
Yeah. We were talking, I was talking with a colleague the other day about how, because, kind of technologies enabled kind of like a microwave society, we can get things very quickly and instantly. So we expect that. She was saying that more and more customers are entitled and kind of selfish, and that's so how important is attitude in customer service and in life in general?
It's everything. Oh my gosh. So, Christopher, what's really funny, when I first started my speaking business, I wanted to teach attitude. Like that was my thing. I'm like, because everything is about attitude, right? Relationships at home, at work, in the pub, like everything's attitude. And I was totally on like this. I'm going to teach attitude. But then I hired a speaking coach and he goes, Barb, no one buys attitude talks. They'll buy leadership. They will buy customer service, but they won't buy attitude. So I'm like, well, wait a minute. Customer service is attitude. Leadership is attitude. So everything, it starts with attitude, right? Like if leaders, oh my gosh, I have this happen where a leader will hire me and will say, hey, Barb, you know what? The frontline staff are awful. You need to fix them. Go train them. But the leader's a jerk. If you don't treat your employees well, they're not going to treat customers well. So everything is attitude, Christopher, everything.
Talking about leadership and basically starting at the top, but the reason why I left the corporate world was because it was basically people at the top reaping the benefits at the expense of others. So basically hoarding and basically parasitic relationship. And so you talk about how good customer service has to start at the top. And what do you mean by that?
Well, it's just like what we just said. So just like I said, if the person at the top of the organization, this is how I know this, how I learned this is from experience. I was working with a large medical group down here in Southern California. I can't reveal the name for some reason or other. They wanted to raise their patient satisfaction survey scores. So the customer service surveys, right? But the guy at the top, at the very top of the organization, was like a cheerleader. He was out in the field. He would meet employees. He would recognize them for doing great things. He would hold people accountable. If they didn't want to get on board, he'd get rid of them, hire people with great attitudes. But it was because of him that the process worked. I went in and I trained like all their 3,500 employees and managers. But the only reason it stayed stuck. I don't think that's a word. I don't think the only reason why it worked and they raised their scores was because he was the leader. He supported people. He recognized them. He did all the right things. But that's really what has to happen. If you train like the people at the bottom to be great, yet the people that lead them could care less, that's not going to work, right? That's short term. Like you'll get good results for a month, but that's not the long game plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I said, I think everything has to start with lead, and then kind of when leaders are making 20 million a year and then their employees are kind of struggling and basically they're expendable, that kind of sets a negative tone. Where's the loyalty and where's the customer service? So
right.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you've heard, like during the pandemic, you probably heard stories where some companies, the CEOs, they didn't take their bonuses and they took pay cuts so they could keep the employees and not lay them off. Can you imagine the loyalty of those employees that went through that?
Yeah.
That's remarkable. But it's a good point of like the CEO is like taking a $20 million bonus and golfing every day while his employees are working 24 hours a day,
Right.
it's not the leading by example thing we're looking for, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then I love your analogy of a leader going into the trenches, recognizing people, and in a stay-at-home world where we're working from home, kind of talk, how do you, the importance of recognition, and how do you do that when people are, on Zoom and computer and video, all of that?
Yeah. So a lot of my clients have, well, okay, first of all, I don't think everyone's fit to work at home or they're made to. Some people need humans around them, and some people have got to get away from the kids, quite frankly, and their spouses. So I don't think the work at home thing is great for everybody. But for those of you who are working at home, a lot of my clients, they still have meetings. They require that their cameras are on because you know how we don't like that. So they require the cameras are on so they can still recognize them, keep in touch. And then what's great about the remote workers is you don't have to really be so hands-on as a leader. Like most of my clients will say, as long as you get X amount of things done in X amount of time, I don't really care what time of day you do it, or, unless you're answering the phone call, right? But so they have like certain requirements I need you to do, and then the employee will do them, show that they've done them, and then they get recognition. So there are still ways of doing it, but I think sometimes in general, I think we don't recognize our employees enough in general. Whether they're in the office or not, we don't ever thank them. But I think we can up that more, whether it's in person or not. I think.
Mm,
I know.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So I love what, all you have to say, kind of as we close it out, talk about, especially in these day and age, there's a great book, Crucial Conversations, when stakes are high, emotions are high, outcomes are high, how to manage emotions and thrive under pressure.
What's your question? How to do that? How to deal with all these emotions?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a tough one. So what I teach when I have a session actually that's called that, right? Manage emotions and thrive under pressure. The last couple of years it's been very popular. So what we talk about in there is first recognizing what your triggers are. Like what is it that triggers you to be out of control emotionally? Is it a coworker? Oh, the stupid coworker. Or is it when someone says something to you? Oh, or is it like someone cuts you off on the freeway? But first, you have to recognize what your trigger is. Then you need to, what I call, hit the pause button. So what is that? So like you're triggered, you're like adrenaline's up, and you're like, I'm going to punch him in the face. But what's your pause button? I don't know. Is it counting to 10? Maybe it's taking a deep breath. Maybe it's leaving the room. But hit your pause button so that you can come back and have an informed response. And then I also teach, maybe you don't need to confront someone. Maybe you're getting worked up about nothing. Good. Like you said, good morning. I said good morning to you, Christopher, and you did not reply. Oh, that's stupid. Like, do I have to get so upset about that? Maybe Christopher didn't hear me. Maybe he's going through something at home. Like I think I can let that go. But okay, let's say that Christopher, why am I using your name? I don't know. But let's say every day at work, Christopher, when he comes into my office, he throws his papers on my desk. He doesn't just place them, he throws them. He does it every day. And it makes me so mad. Guess what? I probably need to say something because that action impacts me. So that's what I teach in my session. If what they're doing doesn't impact you, I don't think you need to say anything. But if they're walking all over you, then you can have a crucial conversation nicely. But you have to hit the pause button first, Christopher. You can't be mad and have the conversation.
Mm, yeah, I love that because what's so fascinating is the best leaders that I've seen are able to have they're able to have firm boundaries, but they do it in a very tactful way. It's not like it's not an aggressive or it's kind of like just this this is it, and then kind of a cordial way, but they're able to establish, leadership and authority in a very civil, very positive light. So,
Exactly.
yeah, I I love this conversation. And we may have you as a future, webinar or live stream. But how can people contact you about your products, your services? I know you do a lot of public speaking for healthcare organizations. And how they can reach you.
Yes. Yes, so they can reach me on my website, which is my name. My name's printed somewhere, right? BarbaraKhozam.com. Or you could just go to MsHappyPants.com. It all
Yeah.
goes to the same place. Yes, on Facebook, Instagram, I'm all over the place. Yay.
Excellent. And for all the listeners out there, let's thank Barbara for coming on. Customer service, really important. And follow her on all her social media channels. Give her a like. All of those resources will be in the links and show notes. And with that, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.